Hello and welcome back to another episode of Lost and Remote. On this great adventure, I'm taking you back to the Wild West of Colorado to three historic old mining towns, Cripple Creek, Victor, and Goldfield. They're all within a 10-mile radius of each other, so this was a perfect day trip to do from Colorado Springs. I'll take you along our journey, give a little bit of history, and break down what you should plan on your visit. I do all my ghost town hunting using books like these. Although some of the towns are either repopulated or gone, they give lots of information you won't find anywhere else. Plus, it's really amazing to see how ghost towns change over time. Also, just a quick reminder to please like this video and subscribe to my channel. We have a new video every other week, and you won't want to miss it. So without further ado, let's get to it. We're at Cripple Creek. We drove up here. We're doing a little ghost town tour today. We're gonna do Victor and Cripple Creek, Goldfield, and just kind of stop and see what we think. But it's really cool. You can still see the old downtown here, and there's a lot of historical little cool things. There's a mine tour. There's a few museums. So we're really excited. So let's go. For 10 years, cowboy Robert Womack told saloon goers in the dives of Colorado City that there was a fortune to be made in gold at Cripple Creek. It appeared Womack was right. That same mine yielded over $5 million of gold. Welcome to Cripple Creek, established in 1891. This building here was the Gold Mining Stock Exchange, built in 1896. This was once the capital, boasting a community of over 50,000 people, including most of Colorado's elite. Cripple Creek was the poor man's dream, but it came with a cost. It was known as the most awful little city in the world. With its plethora of brothels and saloons, it was home to iconic prostitutes such as DeVere, who frequented the Homestead, the most prestigious of all the brothels in town, which is now a museum. The city was devastated by 2 fires in 1 week, and nearby Colorado Springs funded the rebuild of the brick buildings, which you now see today. It's now home to dozens of casinos and bars, but it's just a mere shadow of the wild western city it once was.
Maybe it's for sale. Maybe you come here, you buy it.
Should we buy a hotel?
Yeah, and you can have a YouTube video that says, I bought a ghost town hotel. That would be kind of cool.
Hey friends, so we are here in Victor, Colorado, and I'm sitting underneath one of the pieces of machinery that they used for mining back in the day. So we're at this little park. There's benches out here. It's a really cool place to sit and have lunch. So we explored Cripple Creek, and then we drove the 10 minutes up the road to Victor. Cripple Creek is still roaring, so it is full of casinos. I don't know, maybe a dozen. We counted, I lost count. There were so many. A lot of the old buildings were repurposed to casinos. So it's a lot of gambling, which means you kind of have a little more of a rowdy nightlife and even daytime atmosphere. There's some cool murals and things like that in Cripple Creek that I think are also really beautiful and worth stopping, and I'm sure there's a lot more to explore. There's also some cool museums in Cripple Creek that looked fun, but definitely, this is definitely a whole day trip. Get up early, come out here, spend the whole day, or if you stay nearby, then you could spend the night. There's hotels and all sorts of stuff here, so highly recommend it. Today, I of course have my Ghost Towns of Colorado book, and I have been reading about Victor and Cripple Creek in here, so there's some really cool stuff, really nice old historical photos. I actually found a house that's in here that was abandoned in the 1970s that has been remodeled, and someone lives in it now, which is really cool. I'm glad to see that it wasn't just torn down. So it's really a nice thing to be able to kind of see it come back to life a little bit. Anyways, well, we're gonna go explore more, so we'll see you soon. reporter once said, "At Victor, free gold sticks out of the rocks like raisins out of a fruitcake." Welcome to Victor, the city of mines. While this camp was known to have some of the richest mines in Colorado, yielding more than $60 million in gold, it was overshadowed by the boisterous neighboring Cripple Creek. Victor was discovered in 1894 after gold was discovered by Irishmen from Portland, Maine. The camp grew, and soon the saloons and brothels were open day and night. Murder and suicides were so common in Victor, it became simply filler stories in the newspapers. You see, Victor was a working camp. While the elite lived in their castles in nearby Cripple Creek, the folk of Victor were used to being a little rough around the edges. While that may be true, Victor left a soft spot in my heart, being one of my favorite old mining towns to date. We loved it so much we even thought about buying up this old place to call home, but it just wasn't meant to be yet. I definitely recommend coming to Victor. It's certainly been one of my favorites so far, just tucked away in the mountains, and it's really beautiful. So for me, Victor is kind of like Cripple Creek's older sibling that has partied early on in their years and is now kind of taking it a little easy, versus Victor is quieter and you can stand in the middle of the road and almost no cars come down. I mean, you can stand there and every 5-10 minutes a car will come down the road. For me, I prefer it just because we really enjoy more of that abandoned Old West feeling. I kind of feel like when you're in Victor, it really feels like you step back in time, where Cripple Creek, the downtown is a little more kept together than Victor, where a lot of it has burnt down here in Victor. But I will say that it just has a much more relaxed feeling. And just up in the hills over here, you can just see all the old mining equipment. In fact, there's one right here behind me, which is really, really cool. I mean, I think for us, I would spend more time at Victor. If I had to choose between the two, it'd be Victor over Cripple Creek in terms of spending more time. So if you're coming this way and you like more of the sort of quiet, desolate, kind of ghost town feeling of these old mining towns versus the touristy things to do, I would definitely recommend coming to Victor over Cripple Creek, just because I think you could spend a little bit of time at Cripple Creek and then really explore sort of the abandonedness and really old Western feeling of Victor. So that's my take. Hope you enjoy it, and I also hope that it's helpful. About a mile away from Victor is the small town of Goldfield. Established in 1894, Goldfield is known as the City of Homes. It once boasted several schools, quaint homes, and had almost as many churches as it did saloons. While next door to two iconic cities, Goldfield has a very different, almost country-like feel. You're surrounded by golden fields and endless mines in sight. The iconic remodeled Gothic-style town hall still stands tall today as a beacon of times gone by. There's a trail that passes through the hills above, giving you a closer look at dozens of mines and abandoned equipment. We didn't get to hike this, but I would highly recommend making time on your next visit. Well, friends, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to check back as we continue our journey deep into the Colorado mountains to visit lonely ghost towns crumbling to time. If you like this video, I would love if you could like, comment, and subscribe. It's our dream to create stories like this for you full time. I also started our Patreon page if you'd like to support us along the way, and every dollar goes towards that goal. It's linked below. As always, thank you for your support, and we'll catch you next time.